Hi guys, I'm extremely overwhelmed and I don't know where to begin. It's been a long and crazy battle. Uh, I'm a writer, and I'm a good writer, and I've done a lot of writing. And I don't know what happened in Canada, and I don't know when it happened, where bad became good and good became bad. I don't know when people got jealous more than being willing to support good talent. Gotta have some of this stuff. Right? A special something was written 2008. Now this is material that I had been writing since I was a teenager, when I started writing seriously after the trauma of losing my first novel wore off. It took me 3-4 years before I could write again. This was sent to Tom Welling and the Smallville TV show set. Sorry, not movie yet. So they sent it back unopened. And he described later, after he quit the show, that he was going through a period of his life where he didn't like it and didn't feel good. He called what he was feeling the heebie-jeebies. And he didn't want to experience the heebie-jeebies ever again. So he took a really long break from the TV show. And I'm going to tell you right now, when his heebie-jeebies started, it would have to do with him not being allowed to read this poetry book. Because if he had read this poetry book, then he could have elicited a friendship. We could have been pen pals. He could have invited the opportunity for me to perform and do something at the Talent for a poetry reading thing. Or he could have asked me to send him more. And he would have been able to be around my career, not his career, from that point on, to get to where I am now, which is very, very big. I'm sitting here with about $1,800 in my bank right now, and I estimate I should have hundreds of millions of dollars in an account, and that my world should be going well. Things should be moving forward as they should be, since the accomplishments of all this work. But I'm in Canada, and for some reason people don't like to support artists anymore in a meaningful way. It's like, well, if it's not about me, but if it isn't for me, if it isn't paying me, well, if it doesn't help me, then I don't want to do it. Why would I do it? Even when I was advertising for assistance, I had somebody say, oh, I'm great for this, that, the other thing. And then at the end of it, oh, by the way, I only do things remotely. But it's my ad. I'm the boss. It's my company. I'm advertising for employees, and I'm specific about what I need. You don't tell me before I've hired you that you only do things remotely. You're not the boss. You're not in charge. You don't direct. You don't control. You don't say. The person who's putting the ad in looking for staff does that. That's what makes them the boss. I am the boss. So anyways, a few years later, I got the second one done. And then a few years after that, I got the third one done. And then after that, I got my big first one done. So initially this would be called You've Got Mail 2. Most people have seen You've Got Mail with Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks. So it's big. I'm actually humming and hawing on whether or not this is better. I love You've Got Mail. Tom Hanks, Meg Ryan did a fantastic job, but I have to be a little partial. I think sometimes seconds can be better than firsts. And in this case, if it doesn't come across as better, then it is at the least equal. And I haven't been able to get anybody to read it. Not an actor, not a singer, not another writer, not an agent, not a producer, nobody, a publicist. No one will read it because it didn't come through the people who originally made the first movie, which, by the way, wasn't their copyright. Nora Ephron took the movie story idea from a play, what was written decades before her life, right? So why would they now fast forward to mine and say, oh, well, if it wasn't through the Nora Ephron, Warner Brothers situation, we don't want to read it? Or, we'll read it, but you have to have it formatted in a certain way. So what it comes down to is they open it up and they look through the pages without reading anything that's on it, and they're like, nah, I'm not going to read that. It doesn't look like how I want it to look. Totally divorcing whether or not the story is any good, where the material speaks for itself, where the formatting inside isn't relevant. People go to school to learn how to write, to be screenplay writers, to do all kind of background work, to be secondary writers. They get paid to do stuff like that. So it is incidental and insignificant about whether or not the inside looks as good as Gene Roddenberry's scripts did in the 70s when he was a student, graduated recently from UCLA, or wherever it was he graduated from. You don't need that. Pay somebody to do it later. But my point back to this is, if it was a play originally, and then Nora Ephron wrote a screenplay to make it a movie, and then made it a movie, and then I decided I want to make my movie published into a book because Nora Ephron forgot to publish her movie as a book, and I want to take my movie and go back to stage with it and make it a play. Which screenplay type do you use? So the one person who does read professionally, that did read it, says to me in her reply, well, it reads half like a movie and half like a book. Well, then I guess I got my point across, because I want to publish it as a book, and it's going to get made into a movie, and then obviously go to theater. And I, as the writer, I am not going to write 3 different copies of things. I will not write a screenplay. I'm not going to write a play and then write a book. Who has time to do that? Why would anybody do that? You act like Pearson only has one thing to write and produce and publish in their entire lifetime, that this is all there is. I have more. It isn't all there is. Now, what I didn't mention is underneath the backgrounds of publishing those poetry books, I was working on competition material having to do with my documentary, Survivors, my family background, history. And I had submitted this couple of contests. Now, on my 3rd contest, I won honorable mention in Toronto through a Jewish writing contest for people on or near the streets. And of course, I'm a starving artist, so I definitely qualified. So I got to go to the award ceremony. I got a plaque, and I got pictures taken, and I got my $100. But it wasn't the whole story that they had awarded. They were blown away by just the poem. They had said the poem was enough, that it had said everything about the story. So it get me going, wow, I guess I could make a award-winning documentary. So now I'm having trouble trying to find even that, just a producer who's willing to help me fill out the top sheet for the National Film Board of Canada will give me $1 million, because they've already read the work and they love where I'm going with it, but they can't give the money to amateurs, first-time movie makers. They have to have people with more movies than that. So in my efforts of doing this, people are like, well, if that $1 million is not for me, if it's not mine, then why would I take the time to figure out how to help you get approved? Or they just take their time and don't write back because they've got so much money they don't care that I don't have any. It doesn't bother them. But what I'm trying to do is something traditional. I'm trying to hold on to what the National Film Board of Canada is all about, what being in Canada is all about, during the process of making this documentary. If I were to get $200 million for this, I wouldn't need money for that. But the documentary portion of the support from the National Film Board of Canada is part of the point of the documentary. So it's relevant to have support from the small funding places in that process. So what it's come down to today is I'm about to mail off a smaller package. This is too heavy. I'm going to send a smaller package off to UK. I'm going to take a chance on my last $10 that I have on me, and I'm going to mail off that war story, these 3 books of poetry, and the paper-clipped version of the somewhat 30-odd pages of the Smallville movie, which is now finished. Which, by the way, the same year I announced that it was finished being written, which was last year, Tom actually then blocked the Smallville movie Instagram account. And I don't think he realized that I had been telling everybody that the movie was finished in first draft. And that I had been sacred and integrity in the sense that I had said nobody's going to read it until he's read it. Because there's stuff in it he needs to read. Because I don't ever want him, as a responsible producer and a director and co-star, never want him to experience the heebie-jeebies. If you don't feel comfortable, if you don't like it, I won't do it. I'm not going to make you do it. I'm not going to make you sign a contract and keep that contract. It makes you uncomfortable. And so we need to finish that part in privacy. But if he's blocking himself from being himself, because she's blocking him from being himself, and they're trying to act like that they're getting along and have a healthy relationship, then we're not going to get anywhere. So what it's going to come down to is I'm not going to ever be able to make the Smallville movie. I'm not going to be able to let anybody ever read it. I might one day finish editing and proofing and finishing the stuff that I would like to finish with Tom, because it needs Tom to be finished because he was supposed to be Clark. Then it would just be a book. But it's not going to be anytime soon. So I'm going to send this off as well in that package. And I'm going to send off Gene Hackman. It's one of my return to sender envelopes. Pieces of my Supergirl material, because it's the only copy I have around. Supergirl 2, 3, and 4 was finished the same year I started Smallville. Now, I could have finished this within a couple of weeks because I was on fire. But when Jesse started blocking my accounts, it makes it impossible. And then when there's Michael Rosenbaum on the side acting like a dork, not thinking about what he was doing, like telling Superwoman to fuck off with his 2 middle fingers, well, you start getting into problems. Now you can't do things. Now Tom doesn't receive certain things and he can't do certain things. I don't blame Tom. Tom's not the kind of person to go around telling the Superwoman, the superhero, the good guy, the best person, the boss, everybody's writing is careers relying on her writing career. Everybody's acting careers relying on her writing career. You don't tell her to screw off when she hasn't done anything wrong to initiate that. I posted a picture of me, because I have issues with weight and health problems, on a day that I felt pretty. And it was a good picture. And I said, hey, look at me, Michael, I'm pretty. And he sends back a picture of himself going like that because he doesn't think girls as pretty as that will sleep with guys like him. Well, you just answered why girls like us don't sleep with guys like you. And nothing to do with whether or not I was pretty or pretty. And the point is, he sent it back onto the Smallville Twitter. So if somebody wanted to go back far enough, they could find that evidence. So Tom's got 4 years of me in the background collecting visual evidence, photo evidence, video evidence of what was going on in the process of keeping us apart from working together. And keeping us apart from working together goes all the way back to when season 9 casting calls was happening in British Columbia. So I've been in this thick and thin all the way. And in this, he's behaved like, well, I want you to get famous. Well, I did. I am. I've done my part. I've kept my end of the bargain. But you fell behind on realizing I'm not a movie star. I'm not an actor first. I don't do camera first. I'm behind scenes. I do important stuff around all that. Can I do some acting? Can I be made into an actress? Yes, because I wrote all of this. Have I been to acting school? Absolutely. But it's not my forte. And I'm not going to get background work and lead character work in Canada and climb my way up to the top from this terrible place. There's no support here, and their system is so backwards. That National Film Board of Canada, $1 million, is only enough money to be a student learning how to make movies in America through the Robert Redford Sundance Group organization. That $1 million just gives me enough money to go find more money. Bursaries, grants that I don't pay back. Or producers and directors that will finish the cost. I don't know how much my family history documentary is going to cost. I'm going to estimate $3 million because we have to travel to England. We have to travel to Montana. We have to travel to Manitoba. We have to travel to Alberta. We have to travel to BC. Oh, God, Lord. And we have to travel all the way to Halifax where it started. And the boats come in from UK. That costs money. And you got to take all the crew with you or constantly rent the equipment when you get there. So I don't know where they think a person's going to become a filthy, stinking, rich, famous movie star when they treat people so badly on that aspect of the industry on this side. There are people who had such good acting careers in Canada that died here. Nobody outside of this country knows. Who should have lived and had careers outside of this country. But I don't want to be one of those people. So I making this video because I needed to reach somebody who's going to sit and watch it all and realize, hey, she's making a good point. This Gene Hackman envelope was another thing that returned to me, send back. Where did I put it? Here. Hang on a second. "2017, I sent this when Tom was doing the episodes on Lucifer. And they sent it back. They actually did that. They blacked it out and sent it back with Tom Welling on the top, and it just says Lucifer underneath it. That is almost like Satan himself saying, yeah, no, sorry, not interested, won't help you reach that guy. Right? It is absolute evidence that Tom should have never gone on that show after playing the good guy, being a superhero on Smallville. Return to sender. It says it right there. You know what it was? A Christmas card. What is wrong with people if Tom's not allowed to get any mail? Not even a Christmas card. Here's another one. It's a birthday card. Tom Welling, Super Tom. I still have, right? The top 10 things I've learned from Dad. And I won't read through the list. But it's like that. And then it's like that. But it doesn't matter if he sees it now because it's been ruined. This was meant from a little girl that I was trying to make a better life for. I was trying to give her better chances and opportunities than what I've had in Canada. I was trying to help a man find a girl and a girl find a man that could be father and daughter to each other. And now she's too old, so that's not an option. And this one's cost a lot of money to send to the mail. This one's from last year. And I'm so sick of getting stuff sent back. I just chose not to. So I still have it. And I have the cake, which is still in my deep freeze, which I haven't used, lit the candles for at all. It's still there. I did this because the cake I wanted to make originally was 3 tiers. But then I realized Charlie Baker and Tom Baker would be like, honey, what are you doing? Why are you making such a big cake? Whose wedding is it? Right? They'd be like, it's a wedding cake. That's not a birthday cake. But this birthday card says it is a birthday cake. And you can make birthday cakes that big. But not if you're just giving it to one person. Only a few people are going to eat it. You can't do that. So I realized, okay, you're going overboard, over the top. So I saved 2 of the cakes. I still have them. And I used one and made the smaller cake. So I can finish making the cake. It's an orange marmalade cake. It's very expensive. It costs a lot of money. So that is why I put the other 2 on ice. Because of how much it cost me just to get as far as I did. So I bought the deep freeze just for the sake of saving that cake in it. Now his birthday for this year is April 26th. Do you think he'll make it here on time to unfreeze that cake from last year, light the candles, blow them out? Because I'm not making another cake after doing this way for so many years. I made the cakes because I had decided he was a guy that had earned it, because I had seen him struggle with his religious issues, spiritual side, what to think about all of the holidays, trying to find his God and his religion inside of himself. And I knew what that meant because I am there. I have that answer. And I've been with him from the beginning of his career. So I decided to make the cakes because I had seen that he had earned the right to enjoy his life, who he is as a person, his existence. I watched him keep giving his birthdays away on weekend getaways at Comic-Cons. Why? These people don't know you. They don't owe you anything. Like, there's nothing there bond-wise. And it didn't work. I spent 2 weeks with the first cake, the first year, arguing with the Comic-Con people where he was going in Alberta about getting the cake to him or him to the cake. And it didn't have to be at the event, although that would have been the best way to do it. If I could have presented it to him in front of thousands of people, and it's lit and everybody's singing happy birthday, that would have got the point across. But that he would have realized, okay, that's you talking to me in front of all of these people about what you think, about what you're offering. I would have, that would have worked. Okay, so they wouldn't help. They said, oh, we don't want to have the risk of there being problems, but I'm a bodyguard, security professional. It's all over the place online. You can see it. I can even send you my online resume, which has got a dedication to Tom to hire me. That I am one of the safest people on earth that you could get food from and give to a movie star. Don't have a criminal record. I've taken lie detector tests, and I've obviously had criminal background checks. So it's clear that if you can get a birthday cake from anybody on earth, it's somebody that works on the side of the law who's still working in that industry. 20 years, right? So I'd say, it's pretty safe. But my point to them was, okay, fine, you don't want to have the cake brought to him broadcast at the event. Let's do it in the background. Afterwards. We could do it in the building in a different room. We could do it at his hotel. We could have him come to where I was, which was Ottawa at the time. No go. They just wouldn't give me any leverage. And so then what happened, so Tom's got good instincts. He would then was in the background at the end of the day on his birthday with a bunch of strangers, people he absolutely has no idea who they are. It doesn't matter who they are. He doesn't mean anything to them. They're just like, oh, it's this famous guy. It's, oh, we're excited. It's this Tom Welling. It's Smallville. And, but good looking. Oh, isn't he hot? Whatever. So he gets a cupcake with a candle in it. And he's got it in the camera. And he's got the camera. And his expression on his face, I understood, was priceless. That is all he was worth to all those people and how much money he made that event for that weekend that he was there. It wasn't one day. He was there for the whole weekend. How much money they make per day. And all he was worth to them was a cupcake with a candle in it. One. And, he would have much rather have received the cake, the big one, that had 42 candles on it. But I was smart enough that in spite of what everybody was doing wrong, including Jesse, I kept 2 pieces of that cake. I videotaped what I did. I went to a Tim Hortons. I got permission to put up banners, and I had people come and help me celebrate. We blew out candles, and I shared the cake with poor people. People in the place I was living with as well. But I saved 2 pieces. I saved the tea, and I saved another piece, a square. And that cake was made at a time where certain products for the cake were not available except at that time of year. And I took the last $11 I had to go buy the stuff to finish making the cake. So the cake had a much value, huge sentimental value, very big purpose to me, to him, because I had watched him struggle for so long and decided he deserves a cake that he can enjoy for himself and enjoy his birthday and being alive on that day. That it's okay to celebrate that day sometimes. Just don't go crazy about it. Right? I took those pictures and I put it up on a brand new Instagram, which is the last Instagram, my most current active one that I use now for just the food. So in Jesse's blocking that account, which would be the 5th thing that she's blocked in 4 years, she blessed me. It was incidental that it ended up telling everyone that I'm good at food. I got to tell people, oh, well, hey, I'm going to keep doing this stuff with the food. So I did. For 2 years, I have cooked nonstop. And I have showcased everything. And almost everything you see me make, I've made for the first time. So it's all brand new recipes. Majority at the time. But just recently, I finally said, I'm done. I've had enough. I'm tired. So I took a break, time off. I was hoping that would turn into a podcast by now, that I would have partners, a group of people to help. This stuff that I can't do. I don't do this background stuff, the camera stuff, and do all the writing, directing, and do all the cooking. You just can't do that. I don't have 8 arms. I'm not an octopus. So it takes support. You need help. You need friends. So I'm making this video because I want to keep educating people on how bad it is in this industry when people could have so many years of fame and attention and success and money already that they cannot find the room in their life, in their heart, and their soul to stand back or move over and have a new person join and let a new person in, help a new person up, give the hand down. Now, I know that if Tom had been allowed to read this material, access all of this stuff, and been given the choice to adopt Sarah, become my friend, or work with me, or help me reach my own money, not give me his money, not loan me money, but help me reach my own money by helping me get to where I should be with all of what I've already got, he would have helped. The very first email I sent asking for help only requested his help reaching Johnny Depp. I didn't go into detail or confusion about all the rest of the stuff, because that would have just been natural. That would have just taken place in conversation with him. So today, I have to make a bunch of different videos on top of this one, smaller portions, to get across to everybody that I now need help. Michael Rosenbaum has known me for 7 years online. For 3 years, he let me post whatever I want. For 3 years, he just put up with all those posts. He did nothing. John Schneider has known me for 7 years. And he got close enough or bonded enough at some point that he decided it was okay to yell at me in email about getting mad at his assistant. And he'll never be right about it. I have no money. And I spend what little money I have, send stuff to John Schneider that is important for him to read, that if he read, then he could make money with his production company where he is in Louisiana and wouldn't have to worry about where the money's coming from to pay his bills. So now, since then, he's sold the land to other people who are maintaining the property and taking care of the costs, because he failed to reach the material I sent and got mad at the assistant for not giving to him. And he got mad at me instead of getting mad at the assistant about not knowing when to tell the boss, this is important, you need to read this. So I've sent these books to John Schneider not once, but twice. So what I'm doing for Tom here is telling Tom to go to John Schneider and get copies of these 3 poetry books, so that you can turn around and help me by saying sorry to what everybody's done to us and to me by having a bunch of these sold. You can just take this Staples out. You can take them to a Staples anywhere and just get them as close to the same color as possible, and reproduce in mass amounts and sell them at the Comic-Con, sell them virtually. However you want to do it, and have the money come in. It's 3 for $25. Online, on Amazon, I've had 2 of these books and this movie available for purchase for quite a long time already. But I've had no way of figuring out how to get the attention. I don't have the 3rd one up, so I haven't been able to make a deal for 3 for $25. So online, people can buy this at $10 a piece. Of course, it's $10 a piece because it's poetry, right? It's worth more money. But it's also helping to support self-employment, self-published writer. They're an ebook on Amazon. So it goes down a little bit if you do the ebook. This is an ebook also. And so people know that in order to get that 3rd book added to the set, to the whole completed thing, I need money. Because the work for this one needs to be put into a PDF and needs to be formatted on computer in a way I don't have time to do. I don't work at Staples. I'm not just practicing. This isn't me learning. I'm not a student. I'm not an amateur. I am not the intern. And I've really had enough of living around people that are still in that mode of practice and training. I just don't. So I'm going to take my $10 today, and I'm going to mail an envelope of stuff to a secret place and hope it reaches Prince William, so that my true story about the rest of my legacy can finally get told. And hopefully, while his grandmother's still alive, I can still have my coronation, which can fix that problem in history. So a wrong can be righted. Then I can actually get my little tiara, which would be very nice. I like that. Which still goes with Tom Welling. Because little birdie told me that the name Lord Thomas John Patrick Joseph Welling III is a reference to there being some background reason for there being such a long name. That kind of traditional thing, when it's passed down like that, usually has a pretty royal background reason, purpose for it. So in all of this, I was just trying to do what he wanted me to do, to rescue him on the show, which I didn't get the chance to do at that time. But now he can turn around and help rescue me. Because I did my part with all the writing I've done. I've achieved the success he wants. So now he just needs to unravel the lies and the secrets and the backlashing and all the other stuff that's happened, and figure out how to come join me on my side, and really defend that I have been innocent all the way through this and having done nothing to cause anyone to do this to me. I'm going to hope that Prince William will reply and get me out of this mess while I try to figure out how to get people to buy stuff through the Amazon that's already there, to make sales for stuff that's been available for me to make money, to go and make more money with more movies that I have made, worked out. I've got like 2 weeks to come up with money. I just lost the job that I had not expected to be losing at this point that quickly, over nothing, over an emblem on a face mask. No words. Nobody knows what it is when you look at it in a picture that was online. But if you look at how many pictures I have online, I'm not taking that stuff down. It's really relevant to my career. You can't ruin my reputation and what I do for a living. I'm not taking that down or hiding that portion of my work and my life. So that's that with that, right? I want a license to register my companies here in Quebec, and it takes money to do that. I'm still in need of an intern and assistant. Ads are still running. I need a housekeeper. I'm still trying to email to people the information for the top sheet I need filled out to get the $1 million from the National Film Board of Canada. I even emailed Robert Redford, his assistant, and it's been 2-3 days and I haven't heard back from just the assistant, never mind Robert Redford. So this isn't my fault. And there's nothing more I can do except keep telling my story online in these videos, and hope that at some point Tom will sit down and actually show an ability to watch 30 minutes, something that catches him up to a lifetime. This current conversation of this video goes back to 2008, right? Season 8 of the show. But the actual whole thing goes back to Steve Martin. Goes all the way back to Cheap by the Dozen. Goes all the way back to Charlie Baker. I didn't want to work with Tom as Clark Kent, Kal-El, Superman, Kryptonite, anything. I had wanted to be Charlie Baker's wife. I wanted to work with him in a Steve Martin movie. And I know to impress Steve Martin, to be good enough to be in a Steve Martin movie, to be good enough for Steve Martin, for him to say, yeah, you're good enough to play Tom Welling's character's Charlie Baker's wife, or one of his wives. We don't know how many he's up to in the story. Maybe he's got 4 ex-wives. Maybe he's got 3. Maybe whatever. Maybe there's none. Maybe it is just the one. The point is, I had to have a resume good enough to Steve Martin. Steve Martin had to be impressed with who I am and the work I've done. I have now done enough of that if Steve Martin saw all of this, he would approve it. He would give the thumbs up. He would say it's green, it's go. But that's what this is all about. The beginning. I had to stop and wait for his name to be played in the credits before I knew who he was. I followed his career that long. And I know something about something that caused this fight between the 3 of us these last 4 years that she wanted to just have given to her. She just wanted to know everything. Here, just have that information so she could just be like, oh, well, it's all me. For me. It's all about me. Oh, I should know this. Oh, I know what to do with it now that I have it. But if you don't know it and you don't have it, then you're not the one for it. Right? There's a moral there. If you don't know it and you don't have it and you haven't been told it, then you're not supposed to know it. It's a way of defining how he can pick out the difference between right and wrong with unsurmountable proof. And I have that proof. So I'm going to leave that there, go on with my day with trying to figure out where I'm going to come up with the money that I need to keep me going where I am in the next couple of weeks. I've come up with stuff every day. I got my little scripture reasoning book, Bible stuff, which is something I did with Michigan. My goal is to get to a church in Michigan so I can stand up on stage and sing songs so Tom can see that side of me as well. So it could challenge and elicit him to pull out a guitar and say, I'm going to come sing there at that church with you on that stage. It probably will work. And as for the poetry books and stuff, I don't know what's going to go with the poetry readings. Because if there's no Smallville movie now, if that's all been wrecked and tainted, then I have to come up with another way of displaying the information, another form of show. But as long as he can play guitar and sing a little, probably come up with something. Anyways, I'll see you guys on the fly. This is my long video. I will do smaller segments in clips for people with shorter attention spans, but you really should just watch the whole thing. I'm gonna, I don't know, for luck, I'm gonna close with something from the Bible. Psalms 136. Give thanks to Jehovah, O you people, for he is good, for his loving kindness is to time indefinite. Give thanks to the God of gods, for his loving kindness is to time indefinite. Give thanks to the Lord of the lords, for his loving kindness is to time indefinite. To the doer of wonderful great things by himself, for his loving kindness is to time indefinite. To the one making the heavens with understanding, for his loving kindness is to time indefinite. To the one laying out the earth above the waters, for his loving kindness is to time indefinite. To the one making the great lights, for his loving kindness is to time indefinite. Even the sun for dominion by day, for his loving kindness is to time indefinite. The moon and the stars for combined dominion by night, for his loving kindness is to time indefinite. To the one striking down Egypt in their firstborn ones, for his loving kindness is to time indefinite. And the one bringing Israel out of the midst of them, for his loving kindness is to time indefinite. By a strong hand and by an arm stretched out, for his loving kindness is to time indefinite. To the one severing the Red Sea into parts, for his loving kindness is to time indefinite. And who caused Israel to pass through the middle of it, for his loving kindness is to time indefinite. And who shook off Pharaoh and his military force into the Red Sea, for his loving kindness is to time indefinite. To the one making his people walk through the wilderness, for his loving kindness is to time indefinite. To the striking down great kinds